May I request any BOT members that are here, come up to the stage, please. Umesh, you too, please. Thank you. Namaste, everyone. May I have your attention, please? Namaste and welcome. This is day 5 of the Sapthaham, Bhagavatha Sapthaham Pravachanam by Dushyanth Sridhar. And this Pravachanam will continue this series tomorrow and conclude on Sunday. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware of the schedule. Timing-wise, it's not going to be in the evening, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday will be 3 to 5 p.m. and Sunday 10:30 to 12:30. So please make a note. This series is being done as part of our Ananthapadmanabha Mahotsavam this year. This year's Mahotsavam is in August 7th through 11th. It's a 5-day Mahotsavam. And the flyer is in the back of the auditorium. It's also on our social media website. So please take a look for the religious program. And we request you to take a look, donate, or sponsor, and be part of the Mahotsavam to make it a grand success. And I also have our BOT members with me today. Thank you for joining. And thank you all for joining for this series with Sri Dushyanth Sridhar. Thank you very much. Couple of requests. If you can put your phones on silent mode, that'd be great. And also, if you could start filling the seats from the front to the back, that would help quite a bit for folks coming in later in the evening. So, thank you.
श्रीमद्वेंकटनाथार्यं वंदे वेदांतदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारंभां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वंदे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् निगमकल्पतरोः गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनी पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम्। सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमिदं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भस्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपावनपुरे हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परम सुख रसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता शोणपाणिप्रवाणेनोपाता प्रसृतनखमयूकाङ्गुलीं सङ्गशारां कृत्वा वक्त्ररविन्दे सुमधुरविकसदरागमुद्भव्यमानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथीं योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजनिवासो भक्तानां कामवर्षद्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलम् नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते कृष्णा कारुण्य सिंधो कृष्णा कारुण्य सिंधो कृत्वा निशेषतापान् प्रदिशतु परमानन्द सन्दोहलक्ष्मी अज्ञात्वा ते महत्त्वं यदिह निगदितं विश्वनाथ क्षमेथः स्तोत्रं चैतत् सहस्रोत्तरमधिकतरं त्वत्प्रसादाय भूयात् वेदानारायणीयं श्रुतिषु च जनुषस्तुत्यता वर्णनेन स्फीतं लीलावतारैरिदं Ayurarogya Saukhyam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Namasadase Namasabhaye. With the abundant blessings of Shriyapati Paramatma, we've gathered in this very sacred premises of Sri Shiva Vishnu Temple, SSVT. This is my 21st lecture in this auditorium. So I've performed Navaham, I've given a one-day lecture in May 2015, then I gave Yaksha Prashnam. This is a series of 7 days. And this 7 days, we've had the opportunity to go through the sacred passages of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. We've in fact spoken, I wouldn't say at length, at semi-length, about Shuka, about Parikshit, the circumstances that led to the birth of Bhagavatam, and of course, some of the great Puranas, some of the great aspects of this Purana that involves Varahavataram, Matsyavataram, Kurmavataram, Nrisimhavataram, Vamana Trivikramavataram. Parashurama and Rama weren't discussed much. Of course, I did bring some Abid references to the Ramayanam in my due course of speaking. There is some amount of portion in the Navamaskandam that is attributed by Shuka to Rama, but he says Purva Suribihi. He says people who were much older to me by age, by experience, by wisdom, they have already discussed Ramayanam. Which means read Valmiki Ramayanam. That is what it is implied. Purva Suribihi. We must have come across this cliched line in our chapters, as discussed in the previous chapters, they would say. Or as discussed in the previous chapter. What they imply is we must have studied the previous chapter. So which means make time to listen to Ramayanam at some point in time, because Ramayanam in itself is an ocean. Ramasagaragamini Punati Bhuvanam Punya Ramayana Mahanadi. That's so I'm assuming we all know about Rama. So we have skipped Rama. When D Rama is skipped, J Rama has to be skipped. D Rama is Dasharatha Rama. J Rama is Jamadagni's Rama. So Parashurama. So Jamadagneya and Dasharathi will be integral to Ramayana. Parashuraman Garbam Titavandi Nammayalla Kadavandi Pattam Katta Yetavandi Nalu Peril Muttavandi Avandi Yen Kanmani Ramanuku Mannan Mudi Dharitale. So when Parashurama is there, Rama has to come. Ghana Kupita Bhrigurama Garvaharamita Saketam. When Bhrigurama is there, Saketa Rama should be there. We have discussed this. We have discussed the life histories of great Bhagavatottamas like Dhruva, Ajamila, Ambarisha, so on and so forth. Then we entered Krishna Avataram. As we discuss Krishna Avataram, we must realize that many Acharya Varyas, poet extraordinaires, consummate dramatists, have dedicated a large section of their life to describing Krishna Avataram in detail in literature. One such fabulous work came in the 13th century by a poet extraordinaire called as Vedanta Deshika through his work called Yadavabhyudayam. 2500 verses, 24 sargas, commentary by a great Shaivite Advaitin called Appaya Dikshita. He says, Vande Vrindavanacharam, I salute the one who trod the forests of Vrinda. What is Vrinda? Who is Vrinda? Vrinda means sea. That is why I told you, if you remember, day 4 yesterday at about 7:30, day 2 at about 8. I told you about the replacement of Va and Ba. Then I told you Bengal, then Bali. You remember Yasmai, Jasmai, Yamuna, Jamuna? Ashok. So we discussed that. See, Vrinda in Sanskrita means a type of thorn. Mul. Let me give the colloquial word. In Tamil, it is called Nerinji Mul. It will be flat at the bottom. There will be a protrusion. You know, in that boards and all we will hang for the jump pin. What pin? Push pin. Like push pin it will be there. That push pin like structure is called Vrinda. In Tamil it is called Nerinji Mul. But I told you, when Krishna Bhakti spread through Gaudium is where Bengal, large parts of Bangladesh, Bengal, Bihar, they were all involved. Va, ba is replaceable because Bengali doesn't have va. So east of India, there won't be va at all. Vangam is called Bangam. That is why in Prachina Mahajanapadam it is called Vangadesham. That is Bangadesham, Banga, Bengal, it came into Bangla. So Vrinda automatically got into Brinda. Whereas Brinda in Sanskrita means Tulasi. So we thought Brindavana means that place which is infested with Tulasi plants. Nothing wrong. But the original word is Vrinda. So it had thorns. That is why people had not occupied that region. They were in Gokula. Later, because of lot of antisocial elements like Poothana, Shakata, Pralambha, Keshi, they thought this place is a very haunted place. Let us go to another place. Even if it has thorns, we will adjust. As people started walking in the region that was thorny in nature, over a period of time, those thorns were discarded, akantakan, or they turned soft into grass. Mandam, madhura ninadair venuma purayantam vrindam vrinda vanubhuvi gavam charayantam charantam chandobhage shatamakadvamsina danavanam antaramtam kathaya rasane gopakanya bhujangam. This is a shlokam from Krishna Karnamritam. Can anyone tell me the poet's name? Arana. Very good. Who said that? Full marks. Bilvamangalam Leela Shukar. He gave the work called Krishna Karnamritam. He says, Vrindam Vrinda Vanubhuvi Gavam Charayantam. There was a great poet called Robert Frost. He says, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller long I stood, and looked down as one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the one as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim. So he says, it diverged, the woods diverged. One had a clear path. The other one had lot of thorns and grass, which means people have not taken this path. So he says, I have taken the road less travelled by. Then only it becomes used. So they walked over the thorns to make it grass. That is why 400 years back in a small hamlet near Swamimalai called Uttukadu, a great prolific poet called as Venkata Kavi says, I do not desire another birth. Who will read this Humpty Dumpty again? Imagine whatever you have undergone now, you have to do the same thing against some other address. Now Maryland, you may go to Delaware, tax-free state. Same thing you have to repeat. Competition will be higher. Magnet program you have to do. You will have another set of, if you are Purvajanma Karma, you may have Indian origin parents who will keep telling you study. Same thing you have to undergo. Same mentally stable, one or two elements may get added. Pluto may or may not become a planet. Then the same Jambuka channel will remain. What is Jambuka? Fox. Fox channel will remain. Trayaksharam CNN will remain. Same thing you have to repeat. So Venkata Kavi said, I do not desire another birth. What if my karma coaxes me to be born again? Then I make a choice that I should be born as a blade of grass. Bhagavan will ask, where do you want to be born as grass? In Vrindavanam. Pullai piravi taravendum kanna unidamana palakodi பிறவி தந்தாலும் விருந்தாவனமிதிலொரு. Vrindavanam, place infested with thorns that turned into grass, meaning one. If it is Vrindavanam, full of tulsi, whichever meaning it is okay. Vande Vrindavanacharam, I salute the one who trod the forest of Vrinda. Vallavijana Vallabham, the one who was a beloved of the women. All women, they had the jersey of Krishna in their bedroom. It will be signed. N Krishna. Why N Krishna? Nanda Gopala Krishna. See, that time he was not known as V Krishna, right? Vallavijana Vallabham Jayanti Sambhavan Dhama. Sambhavan Dhama, the one who originated, was born on Jayanti. Who is Jayanti? When mommy supplies Vadham for me. Mommy's name is Jayanti. No, see. Jayanti in Jyotishya Shastra means that moment, that juncture, when it is Avani Masam, Krishna Paksham, waning phase, Ashtami Tithi, Rohini Nakshatram. The star should be Rohini, not any other star. It should be Krishna Paksham, not Shukla Paksham. It should be Ashtami Tithi, not Navami or Dashami. It should be Avani month and not any other month. When all these four come together, that juncture is called Jayanti in Jyotishya Shastra. Jayanti technically doesn't mean somebody's birthday. Ambedkar Jayanti, Gandhi Jayanti, Rahul Jayanti. Jayanti means four of them have to come together. Where they all born when in the Avani Masam, Krishna Paksham, Ashtami Tithi, Rohini. Jayanti Sambhavan Dhama. That is why Rama Avataram is much simpler. We don't base our nakshatra. We don't give that nakshatra prominence for Rama. So we just say Rama Navami. Throughout India there will be one date. When Krishna comes, it will be a confusion. Whether it is Tithi or Nakshatram. When both of them come together, whether Kritika Nakshatram comes there. If there is a Shesha Bhagam, then there will be a difference. That is why 3 birthdays will come for Krishna. Ungathile enni Krishna idu tharugudi. Ungathile enni neenga seedai odeka pore. Odere seedai adu enni varudhu. Vande Vrindavanacharam Vallavijana Vallabham Jayanti Sambhavan Dhama Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. Vaijayanti is a beautiful multicolored garland that Krishna alone sported, which used to look good only on him. See, imagine he's completely dark hue, pure black, full. Tamil la kepa. Ena maapla eppadi irukka karupa karupa karupa. That stress on that bird decides the hue of that black. Pilla shamatha ashayid. அந்த வாய் இழுக்கிறதுல கோணிக்கிறதுல தெரியும் பிள்ளை பாஷை. Dark hued Krishna, bright yellow dress, red color angavastram, multicolored garland. Don't even try this. But for Krishna alone it suited. Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. So Krishna Avataram had to begin yesterday. What was the circumstance that led to Krishna's birth? Gaur bhutva ashrumukhi khinna, says Bhagavatam. Krandanti karunam vibhohu upasthitantike tasmai vyasanam samavochyata. Bhuma Devi felt there were a lot of people, anti-social elements troubling her. Some are boring for borewells. Some want to construct buildings. She had a lot of headache. So she took the form Gaur Bhutva. Bhumi is generally personified as a Pashu. She went and cried to Brahma, Brahma ji dekhe bahut sar dard ho raha hai, Saridon bhi nahi chal. That is when Brahma, I told you on day 2, if you express your anguish or worry to him, he will worry along with you. So they went to Bhagavan. Purusham Purusha Suktena, says Bhagavatam. They adored and venerated Bhagavan with Purusha Suktam. And Bhagavan opened his eyes. He was in Yoga Nidra. Alvar says, Uranguvadu pol yoga seyyum Perumal. Don't think he's sleeping, he's actually doing yoga. When he's sleeping like this, he's doing yoga. Like how we say we are doing yoga, but we are actually sleeping. So we think he's sleeping, but he's doing yoga. Yoga Nidra. So Bhagavan opened his eyes. Small, subtle things in Bhagavata. When he opened his eyes, what happened? Bhumi, which had come as Pashu, her left limb throbbed. There was a little throbbing. Oh, she used to go to the cardiac immediately. No. In Shakuna Shastram, for the woman, if the left hand side throbs, it means Shubha Shakuna. For the man, it is opposite. Left throbbing is bad. That is why day 7, August 2022, when I gave lecture on Kishkindha Kandam, I said Sita Kapindra Kshanada Charanam Rajiva Hemojvalanopamani Sugriva Rama Pranaya Prasange Vamani Netrani Samam Spuranti. When Rama had a memorandum of understanding with Sugriva and Kishkinda, thereby assuring to help each other, Vali's left hand side throbbed, so did Ravana, because they will die eventually, but for Sita also it throbbed because she will be rescued. Vamani netrani samam spuranti. Vamam means left. Dakshinam means right. That is why your right hand side of the body faces Bhagavan when you go around him. So it is called Pradakshinam. Your Dakshina Bhagam faces Bhagavan. So Dakshineti. Vamam is left. Vamam is also means something which is slightly off the generic norm. That is why in Sri Vidya there are two kinds of worships to Devi. One which is mantrik, one which is tantric. Vama marga priyakari shankari sarveshwari matangi. Vama marga. So there it becomes Vamam, slightly off. Now, Bhagavan, what did he do after that? There is one shloka. I'll tell you what he did. He said, he looked at Bhuma Devi and said, petition de do. Kya problem hai? Then she said, lot of people are troubling. I'll give you a solution. He threw 2 strands of hair, says Vishnu Puranam. Evam samstuyamanastu Bhagavan Parameshwaraha Ujjaharatmana Keshav Sita Krishnau Mahamuni. Sita Krishnau. One black strand, one white strand he threw. This is there. Now there is a problem, sir. Even Bhagavan has white hair. Godrej nahi use karte hain, shayad. Because Kesha, the commentary says Keshav means ray of light. So when he says dark and white light doesn't mean white color light. White light in physics means light which is devoid of color. That is why we use one prism, say white light passes. You should not keep hunting for that Nandini color white. No color. That which is uncolored is called white light, and then when it goes through a prism there is diffraction, and that is why you get a spectrum from violet to red, and then which goes beyond the spectrum you call it ultraviolet and infrared. So you get that that is the 7 colors represent the rainbow, right? So it is called Indradhanush. So when it goes through a body, that white light, plain light, so it is Parabrahma. When it goes through a vastu which has sattva, rajo, tamo gunam, you see that colors coming out. So here it is white and white light, where it means it is not colored, and Sita Krishna. One is dark, absence of light. So essentially it means that Bhagavan said, my Amsham will be there and I will be there. That is how eventually we saw that Devaki and Vasudeva were married. Kamsa was ferrying them, and then he heard the ethereal voice that said that Ashtamo Garbham will be the Marana Karanam. He wanted to kill. Vasudeva promised. He killed the 6 children. The 7th was a miscarriage. Then was born Balarama to Rohini. So, Balarama is Rohini's son. Rohini's son. How is Krishna Rohini's son's brother? That is why Muthuswami Dikshithar says, Rauhini Yanujachitam सिद्धिविनायकम् अनिशम् चिन्तयाम्यहं प्रसिद्धगणनायकं विशिष्टार्थदायकं वरं सिद्धिविनायकं रौहिणीयनुजार्चितम्. So Balarama was born, here Krishna was born. Now, when Krishna was born, we discussed that Avatara Ghatta Shlokam yesterday. Tam Adbhutam Balakam. There was little time, so I couldn't explain. See, Aksharam in Sanskritam is a sound. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. These are all letters. A, B, C, D, E. But there is also another technique in Sanskritam of assigning a digit to an Aksharam. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. Which is 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So this is how the number system goes. This is called Katapayadi Sankhya. We deploy that in mathematics while giving postulates through shlokams. 6 months back, while I was in Bombay, I was at the T2 terminal. I was sitting, somebody came and said, "Sir, I would like to talk to you." He must have heard somewhere. So I said, he works for the Oriental Library in Pune. He said that they are involved in understanding, translating, and thereby deciphering the shlokas that pertain to mathematics in Sanskritam. So early mathematicians like Lalla, Leela, Bhaskara, Aryabhatta, they all gave shlokas in Sanskrit. So you have to understand, they would have given trigonometric equation, but all that will be in a shloka. So first you need to have some knowledge of mathematics, you need to have knowledge of Sanskritam, and both of them have to come together. And that time I was asking him what many universities are doing. He said 3 universities in Bharatam are into this research, and he said that there are roughly around 1 lakh manuscripts available, and as on date only 3,000 have been translated. And in Powai, IIT Powai, there is a department, one famous professor whom I know very well, son of a great Vidwan, Ramasubramaniam, is into Madhava series. Madhava series is in integral calculus. You'll come across 300 years before Europe could come. Madhava in Sangamagrama School of Kerala had come up with this integral calculus series. So all our Purvacharyas who were mathematicians deployed Katapayadi Sankhya. Even in Sangeeta Shastram, Shastriya Sangeetam, we divide ragas into 36 Prati and Shuddha Madhyama ragas. Sarigama, Shankarabharanam, Sarigama, Kalyani. Ma 1, Ma 2 makes the difference. So you have to give a number to that ragam. Shankarabharanam is called Dheera Shankarabharanam. Dhi. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya, ta, ta, da, da, na, ta, tha, da, da. Da is 9. Ra, ya, ra is 2. Dheera is 92. But Katapayadi Sankhya's rule is whatever number you get, you have to reverse. 29. So 29 is the number for Shankarabharanam. So if you convert the first 2 letters of every ragam, you will get the corresponding number. This is called Katapayadi Sankhya. All our acharyas, see, generally when we look into the poets, we'll think probably they didn't do well in STEM. They all landed in humanities. No, they were very good in mathematics, but they chose to be this also. See, we say we should not be judgmental, but we are. So, when we discuss Aksharam in Sanskritam, there is an Aksharam Ka. Ka. First Ka. Ka with 2 dots is Kaha. Kaha in Sanskritam means Brahma. Brahma has many names, Vidhi, Virincha, and so on. If you say Kaha, Brahma will come. Ma means Mahalakshmi will come. Ma is the Aksharam for Mahalakshmi. That is why when Valmiki pronounced a curse, Ma Nishada Brahma comes and says, this is not a curse, this is blessing, because Ma is Mahalakshmi, Nishada stays, the one where Mahalakshmi stays, which is Narayana. Ma means Mahalakshmi. Dhava shabdeti pativachakaha. Dhava. Dhava means husband. Ma is Mahalakshmi, Dhava is husband. The one whose husband, the husband of Mahalakshmi is Madhava. You get that Madhava, right? Madhava is Mahalakshmi's husband. Dhava is husband. Without the husband, it is Vidhava. Without the wife, widower, is Vidhura. So if you take one root word in Sanskritam, you can derive 10 other words. Ja means birth, boy. Ja means birth, girl. Bhumija. Sita is called Bhumija. She was born on earth. So she is treated as daughter to Mother Earth. Bhumi is Bhumi. Ja is daughter. Bhumija, daughter to Mother Earth. What is the Paryaya Vachaka Shabdam for Bhumi? Avani. Avanija. Dharanija. These are all words. What is hair? Murdhaja. See, just because you hear Ja, don't. Hair is called Murdhaja, sir. It's a very nice name. Your daughter will then curse you. What is the meaning of daughter? Hair. Got better names. Murdhaja. Murdhni is scalp. That which is born from the scalp is Murdhaja. Hair. Now, why did I talk about all this? Chaganti guarantee. Samavedam Shanmukha guarantee. ಎಲ್ಲ ಟಾಪಿಕ್లో మాట్లాడతారు. నాయన ఏమో మాట్లాడతారు. కహ is Brahma, right? In Sanskritam, a little boy is called Balakaha. Balam is a boy. Balakaha is a very little boy, premature boy, neonatal. So Balakaha is a very small boy. Alparthe kaf pratyayah. The rule is you have to use the suffix ka if it is very small. Balakam. Kanyaka, very little. But why was he called Tamadbhutam Balakam? Why? Because Kaha means Brahma. Balaha Kaha Yasya Sa Balakaha. Balaha, the boy, who when he was born gave rise to a lotus seated on which was Kaha. Who is Kaha? So he is called Balakaha. Tamadbhutam Balakam. So Krishna's birth was divine and magical in all aspects. The mother and the father couldn't fathom, couldn't accept, couldn't digest. She said, "Beta, kya hai? 4 hands, 32 teeth. I can't even take a photo. My friends, what will they think of you? My brother will come running. He's waiting to kill you. Kuch karo, beta." That beta immediately took all his 32 teeth and threw them away. And the mother said, see, look at this sentence. She said, these 4 hands kind of amaze me. Come normally, naturally with 2 hands till my brother is there. As long as Kamsa is alive, we with 2 hands. What is the corollary? After Kamsa's death, keep those 2 hands. Right? See, if I am doing Harati to Bhagavan, there is fan. I'll say, I'm doing Harati, can you please switch off the fan? What it means, you should stay there. The implication is you should stay there. I will finish the Harati, then switch on the fan. If you are very smart, in case you are, then what you will do is you will stand there. Because the fan is perennially running. I am stopping it intermittently for the Harati. क्यों आप आरती नहीं बोलते हैं? हारती क्यों बोलते हैं? Because it is Harati, not Arti. Pararti Shilaha. Arti means distress. Harati means this. Oh, South में ऐसा बोलते हैं क्या? Sanskrit में ऐसा. There is nothing called North Indian Sanskrit and South Indian Sanskrit. In English you have East Coast English here. Midwest they speak one accent. Harati is there throughout. In Sanskrit dictionary there is only one Shabda Kosha. So When I say switch off the fan because I'm taking Harati, the corollary is when I'm done with the Harati, switch on the fan. When the mother said till Kamsa is there, hide those two hands, the implication is after Kamsa's death, have four hands. How do we know that? In Bhagavad Gita, 11th Adhyayam, Vishwarupa Adhyayam, when Krishna shows his cosmic form, Arjuna says, Kichu, I can't understand this form. Come normally, like how you are always with me, with four hands. Svenaiva rupena chaturbhujena. లేదు సార్ భీమార్జున చలచిత్రములో ఎన్టీ రామారావు గారికి వివాహునే ఉంది కదా. ఎందుకంటే వాడు డైరెక్టర్ మన ఉపన్యాసం శ్రవణం చేయలేదు. If the directors sit and listen, they will understand. Nitish Bharadwaj, he also did not listen. Four hands he should have. తమద్భుతం బాలకమంబుజేక్షణం చతుర్భుజం శంఖగదాయుధార్యుధం శ్రీవత్సలక్ష్మం గలశోభికౌస్తుభం. గలశోభికౌస్తుభం. See, every word you have to give me about, I request a temple 365 days, 2 hours every day. Then I will explain Bhagavatam in detail. Mahalakshmi is there in Srivatsam. Next to that is Kaustubham. Kaustubham was a priceless gem. Why did Bhagavan place the Kaustubham next to Mahalakshmi? See, while I was working in Bombay in a place called Vikhroli. Any Mumbaikars here? Very good. You are all blessed with Mahalakshmi. So, my building, we had a canteen in the 7th floor. We were like thousands of people in that building. 2 lifts, 2 elevators, and that elevator will carry only that 7 people, some 780 kgs it will say. We usually occupy 2 persons weight. So during the lunch time, the floor used to be flooded with Homo sapiens. There was absolute pandemonium in that floor. So our vice president came. He saw the commotion. It was ideally, what would they do? They will make arrangements for another elevator. But that elevator would cost 12 lakhs. He was a very smart person. He said, "Itna kyun kharcha karna hai?" He said, "Go buy one mirror for 500 rupees. That 500 rupees mirror was fixed on that wall. There was no commotion. Everybody started. Mahalakshmi had to be engaged in his chest. What did Bhagavan do? He placed Kaustubham next to it. Every now and then she keep adjusting. Shrivatsalakshmam galashobhikaustubham pītambaram sandrapayoda saubhagam maharha vaidurya kirīta kundalatvisha parishvakta sahasrakuntalam uddhama kanchingada kankanadibir virochamanam vasudevamikshata. So Krishna was as resplendent as a sapphire which is mined out of a mountain is sliced. You see that blue hue enveloping the air. As blue as the freshly cut sapphire was Krishna. Indranila. So on the nakshatram of Rohini, the blue sapphire was birthed. Why? Because Rohini had expressed her worry to Chandra. You remember day 2 when talking about Daksha, he told you all the stars were his wife. Daughters, he gave them in marriage to Soma, Nyabarka. So we came today only, sir. Take the notes from your neighboring person. So he always used to say, Rohini, you are very close to me. But it does happen in our literature. See, there is a belief in our literature. Do not transpose it to reality. There are certain assumptions we make in literature. We have to keep that in the literary stage itself. In literature, we believe when Chandra rises in the sky and that day happens to be the constellation, the asterism of Swati. Any Swati nakshatram people here? Swati. So, on the day of Swati, the beauty about Swati Nakshatram is whenever Swati Nakshatram is there, there won't be Marana Yogam. There will only be Siddha Yogam and Amrita Yogam and Panchangam. So Swati is a very beautiful Nakshatram. On the day of Swati, it is believed in our literature that Chandra coaxes the oysters to secrete the pearls. So pearls are born on the day of Swati. Swati Mutyam. Correct. Mutyalu anni janistunna aa divasam Swati nakshatra. So Swati immediately made a beautiful, she went to Narayana pearls. She made that step chain, beautiful pearls chain, freshwater pearls. She immediately sported that in Insta. Rohini got offended. She said, Chandra, kya hai? What kind of life is this? You keep praising me, but you birth pearls with Swati and not me. That is when Chandra said, don't worry, wait for that moment when a blue sapphire will be born when I am with you. When Chandra and Rohini joined, Krishna, the blue sapphire, was born to satiate her of that very worry that Swati had pearls. Swati sapatni kilatarakanam mukta phalanam jananiti roshat sarohini neelam asuta ratnam kritaspatam gopa vadhu kucheshu. So Krishna was born. Now Krishna had to be shifted for safety because Yoga Maya had said in their yogic vision, shift this boy to Gokul. Now how will they carry? That is when there was a food delivering fruit basket in their cell. Food used to come through that basket. Devaki had the idea to shift Krishna through that fruit basket. That is why Shivaji, you know Shivaji? Yamma. Chhatrapati. Chhatrapati Shivaji used to listen to Bhagavatam in his younger days. So, in his younger days when he used to listen to Bhagavatam, he got the idea that to escape from jail is to sit in fruit basket. But in Tamil Nadu, somebody got the idea to escape jail, they'll say heart attack. Then also they will be taken to the jail, even if they are Balaji. So, Swati sapatni tilatarakanam. So it was a beautiful basket. Krishna was placed in that basket, and Devaki said, "Isko leke jaiye." How will he take? He has got fetters. That is when everything is magical in Krishna Avataram. I'll keep telling this line and again. Don't ask me for logic. How did that happen? I can't tell you. This is Krishna Avataram. Believe. You're spending 2 hours. Trust in Krishna. This is what happened. Don't ask. Oh, that's just not possible. It is possible. So, the shackles unshackled. They unfettered. They fell. The doors opened. The Dwarapalakas were swooned. He took that basket and he took them outside. It was pouring. In English, the often used phrase is cats and dogs. I used to wonder, where did these cats and dogs come? That is when, with my little understanding from the history of how it came, the Britishers, when they entered India, they used to have domesticated animals, which were cats and dogs. So they were constructed with houses. They used to keep loitering around. When there were rains, they used to run into their kennels. So cats and dogs used to run. So we may have to say, probably Indianize it. It was pouring cows and calves. So it was pouring. Copious rainfall, torrential rainfall. Vasudeva, who was carrying the basket and the boy on his head, had to be drenched. But not one drop fell on them. Vasudeva was shocked. He looked up. It was the white-hued, 1,000-hooded Adishesha who was the umbrella. He quietly looked. He kept quiet and he carried. Adishesha thought, for Bhagavan, I will accept all the rains on my head. But to his surprise, not one drop fell on Adishesha's food. He looked up. Garude Nayantim. Garuda was flying because Adishesha was doing service to Bhagavan. Garuda was doing service to Bhagavatottama. Bhagavat Kainkaryam, Bhagavata Kainkaryam. श्रुतिमयो विहगः परितः प्रभुं व्यचरदाशु विधूत निशाचरः अनुजगाम च भूतरपन्नगः स्फुटपणा मणिदीपगणोद्वहः. So as he had to reach Gokulam, he had to cross the flooded waters of the river called Yamuna. She arose from a parvatam called Kalinda. So she was called Kalindi. In Sanskritam, it's a I would say a feature that you associate the boy or the girl with their parents. Daksha Putri will be Dakshayani. Janaka Putri will be Janaki. Drupada Kumari will be Draupadi. Vasudevasya Puman will be Vasudeva. Anjana's son will be Anjaneya. Drona's son will be Drauni. Ashwathama's Ravana's son will be Ravani. He's called Ravani in Srimad Ramayanam. So there is always an association. So the word itself will tell who the father is, who the mother is. They will also tell the region. Panchala Desha Rajkumari will be Panchali. Videha Raja Videham is the province, Vaidehi. Mithila Nagara Syaputri Maithili. So you will know the place also. We have that Periplaneta Americana. In binomial nomenclature also you are allowed to associate geography or the feature. That is why we give the genus and species also based on that. We give either if they are folded we call them Arthropoda. If they have some curves we call them Coelenterata. That is how phylum names are also given in biology. Now coming back to our point. So now when Krishna was being carried to Yamuna, Kalindi Yamuna was dark-hued river. Why did she become dark? Somebody asked. In those days, people had lot of time to ask such questions. Why did Yamuna turn dark? One Acharya says, Krishna used to go and brush his teeth, putting his face, seeing his reflection on the river waters. He was so dark that a part of it went into the waters of Yamuna. Now, next question. Why was Krishna dark? Why was Krishna dark? Vedanta Deshika wants to give a full stop to this question. He gives 4 reasons. Lakshmi Netrotpala Shrihi Sadata Parichaya Desha Sambadhyamanaha Nabhi Nalikarinkan Madhukara Patali Datta Hastavalamba Asmakam Sampadogan Navirala Tulasi Dhamasan Jata Bhuma Kalindi Kantihari Kalayatu Vapushaha Kalima Kaitabare. He tells there are 4 reasons. What are the reasons? Nabhi Nalikarinkan. When Bhagavan was there, from his Nabhi came a beautiful lotus. And as the lotus blossomed, Brahma was seated. As the lotus blossomed, it was a naturally fragrant, fresh lotus. The bumblebees, which were dark in color, started hovering around the flower. The reflection of the dark-hued bumblebees fell on the body of Bhagavan, who was like spatikam, like stones. Fresh diamonds. So the dark-hued bumblebee's reflection fell on him. So he became dark. First reason. Second, he sports a Krishna Tulasi Mala. Tulasi has many varieties. Krishna Tulasi is dark-hued. The dark hue of the Krishna Tulasi fell on him. He turned dark. Third, Mahalakshmi had large eyes. Vishalakshi. She had applied collyrium, anjanam, itex on both sides. So she went and sat on Bhagavan's lap. She expected her husband to look okay, but he was exceeding her expectations. So in that amazement, her large eyes enlarged. When her eyes enlarged, the collyrium that she had applied in her eyes spread into quantum packets in the air and that fell on Bhagavan's body and he turned dark. Lakshmi Netra Utpalashihi. So he is dark. So Yamuna turned dark. That dark Yamuna gave way to Vasudeva. Now there is something unique. In Srimad Ramayanam, Vibhishana advises. Kumbhakarna comes and advises Ravana. Kumbhakarna was actually a good man. He used to sleep, that's all. He advised when Hanuman had burnt the entire Lanka down. Lanka had no option but to come to IMF. So, after causing such a huge damage, there was a big meeting, board meeting. Kya kare? Abhi kya kare? Ravana asked. Kumbhakarna said, you should have asked this question what we should do before kidnapping Sita. Whether to kidnap her or not. You took unilateral decisions. Look at the effect of it. Now you are asking what to do. Give back Sita. It doesn't augur well for a country's administrator to engage himself in kidnapping. We'll say give some return, get some 4-5 kgs of cardamom and all of that. We'll send from there. Sita ko bhej do. That time, Ravana said it was a prestige issue for him. He said, nahi bhej sakta, Sita ko main nahi bhej sakta. That moment, Kumbhakarna says, if you're asking me to fight Rama, I will. But I shall die at the hands of Rama today, like how you shall die at the hands of Rama tomorrow. We winning over Rama is impossible, like the waters of Yamuna that have come from Kalinda Parvatam can never go back. He gives that simile in Ramayanam. Not aware of the fact that in Krishna Avataram that will also happen. Waters of Yamuna split. In the Christian theology, we come across a concept called the Red Sea separation. So the waters went back to Kalinda Parvatam against the very simple law of physics that water can only flow from higher level to lower level unless and until you artificially coax it. So the waters split. So the waters went back to Kalinda Parvatam. As the waters went back to Kalinda Parvatam, Vasudeva was able to ferry Krishna from Mathura to Gokulam. It was pouring. When he entered Gokulam, Gokulam even now has thin gullies. It is like Bhul Bhulaiya. Pata hai Bhul Bhulaiya kya hai? Maze. So, middle of the night, no moonlight. It is pouring. He has a child. How did he find the exact location of Nandagopal's house? Vedanta Deshika says, at the end of every street in the villages, there will be a village deity. In the south of India, it's very prominent. It is called Grama Devatai. Ayyanar, Khartu Sami. So he'll be standing like this. Vedanta Deshika says even Achetana Vastu got Chaitanyam for a moment in Krishna Avataram. That sword that Ayyanar, the village deity, held turned like this and they became arrow marks. So Vasudeva was able to spot the way to Nandagopal's house. As he took Krishna there, now the beauty is, I'm sure there will be medical practitioners here, great research scholars, you will know it much better. The first milk of the mother is a very important feed for the child. It is called colostrum. Devaki couldn't even feed Krishna with colostrum. Andal says, how quick was this transfer? Oruthi maganai pirandu oriravil oruthi maganai ஒளித்து வளர ஒருத்தி மகனாய் பிறந்து. ஒருத்தி in Tamil means one lady. Krishna was born to one lady. What is this? We are also born only to one lady. 5 பேர் எனக்கு அம்மா சொல்லுவோம். ஒத்திக்கு தானே நம்மளும். What is this ஒருத்தி? There is a subtle meaning to the word one man, one woman, or the word one itself. It doesn't denote only the digit one. It also means the unique one. Imagine you do your head to toe, Keshadipadam, full body test. HbA1c, lipid profile. Adli Shukla Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. Cholesterol, you do all that, thrombocytes, leukocytes in the site and the site. All this you take the reports and go to the doctor. Those few seconds will be tense because the doctor will go through. Fine, yeah, this looks good. We don't know which one he will circle. And then he will circle 2 or 3 and well, fine, but this condition that I see occurs one, maybe in 1,000 or 1,00,000. You are that. நீ ஆயிரத்தில் ஒருவன் உன்னை நான் சந்தித்தேன். That one doesn't mean Number one, it means you are the unique one. Despite having so many women, Devaki was the chosen one. Oruthi maganai pirandu, oruthi maganai olithu. In Tamil, you should say one and the other one. You should say oruthi maganai pirandu, mattoruthi maganai valarndu. But Andal doesn't use the word matru. Why? Because Krishna's transfer was so quick that he didn't give Andal the time to say the word matru. He didn't give ample time for her to say the word matru. Now, Yashoda, who was also pregnant around that time, had delivered a baby girl. When did that delivery happen? That delivery happened a few minutes after Krishna's birth. See, Krishna was born in the last phase of Ashtami Tithi. This girl who was born to Yashoda was born in the first phase of Navami Tithi. Since she was born in the next Tithi, she is considered as the sister to Krishna. It is a bhavam, bhava janika sambandham. It is an emotion. See, at times more than your own biological sister and brothers, you will make very good friends in people who are like your sisters and brothers. So it's a bhavam. Their blood, both of them are A positive. No, Krishna and Durga, we don't have any blood samples of them. Un udambil vodum rattamum yan udambil vodum rattamum onchallava. They were brothers and sisters because of that bhavam. Pravritkale chanabhasi krishnashtamnyamaham nishi utpatasyami navamyam tu prasutim tvam avapsyasi. She was born. Now, Yogamaya had said you have to swap the babies. So, Yashoda was in that, she was unconscious because she had just then delivered. Everybody was sleeping. So, he was able to swap the babies. So, this bhavam, this girl goes and replaces Krishna to be protecting her brother. So, she becomes like a fortress. In Sanskritam, fortress is called Durga. Chitra Durga anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು Durga means fortress. Durga means invincible. She is the invincible fortress for her brother. So she is called Durga. Katyayanaya vidmahe kanya kumari jadhimahi tanno durgif prachodayat jata vedase sunava mato mamara. So here Durga, she went there. That is why in Krishna Avataram's influence, wherever possible, Parvati is called the sister to Narayana. Sarasi Janabha Sodari Shankari Pahima Paraguru Janani Madashamani Mahishasuramati Mandagamani Mangala Pradayini Bimbadari Chit Prati Bimbadari Bindunada Shankari Shankari Ambujaramana Sodari Adari Ambari Kadambari Neelambari Neelayadakshi Padmanabha Sahodari Bunmesha Nimishotpanna Vipanna Bhuvanavali Padmanabha Sahodari Sarasijanabha Sodari Ambujaramana Sodari. So in Krishna Avataram, through that relationship we treat Parvati as the sister to Narayana. But this got extrapolated to Rama Avataram during Tyagaraja times. So in Tyagaraja times it is said that for Rama's marriage, Parvati had come. But Rama was so desperate to marry Sita, he was walking fast, he was getting himself ready. So that is when Parvati said, Bhaiya, you should not look so desperate. Dheere se ja. Ninnu jodavachu Bhagini karambu chiluka Manasu ranjillani Mahimalanu paluka Minuvasulilla Lanu ghanu tsala chiluka Ghana tyagaraju Ghana tyagaraju జూమహిమలను ముద్దుగులుక హెజ్జరికగా రారా హే Ramachandra. Walk slowly. So that time even she is treated as a sister to Rama. So this child was swapped. Vasudeva brought that girl child to the jail. Doors closed. Rakshakas got up. The girl child cried. Kamsa came, thinking of killing the child. He plucked the child from the hands of the mother, like how Bhattatri says, like how an elephant with absolutely minimal efforts would pluck the lotus from a pond. He took the child. But he didn't stop there. Bhattatri says, but the girl escaped into air, like how a Vishnu Bhakta escapes the pasha of Yama. So she went and became the 800 Durga, Amba, Shambhavi, Chandramauli, Abala, Aparna, Uma, Parvati, Kali, Himavati, Shivadri Nayani, Katyayani, Bhairavi, Savitri, Navayauvana, Shubhakari, Samrajya Lakshmi Prada, Ahamashesha Sura, Sura Mohini, Yavanika, Madhukaitava Madinaha. She says, you wanted to kill the 8th child? I am not that 8th child. That 8th child is safe and he is born elsewhere and he is very safe. Do whatever you can. Prabala Shumba Nishumba Nishudane Pranihita Hataya Tava Kimmaya. Sleepless nights he had. The next morning, when she was conscious, she gained her consciousness back. Yashoda woke up to see her child. Absolutely adorable. She saw the child. She was shocked. It was a boy. Her gynec had said it will be a girl. She had bought all clothes in pink, all jewelry from North Ella, everything. That septum. Septum ante telusu kada? Mullak, Tamil mullak nu solluvom. All jewelry pertaining to the girl, and that return period was also over. In 2017, when my grandmother was there, see, we have a paddhati that when we wear sport new clothes, we will apply haridra, kumkumam and wear. My grandmother said, why party? You got it from Amazon? Yes. See, somebody would have போட்டுட்டு கிழிச்சு கந்தெல்லாம் உங்கள்கிட்ட கொடுத்துருக்கேன். அதுக்கு என்னவோ பெரிய குங்குமம் இதுவும். So that 15-day period was also over. One paksham was over. She did not know what to do with the clothes and the jewelry. There is a prachina shlokam, Narishu Lalita Devi. Amongst the women, Lalita is very beautiful. Parameshwari is very beautiful. Purusheshu cha Raghava. Amongst men, the complete man is Raymond, Rama. Purusheshu cha Raghava. For men, it is Rama. For women, it is Lalita. Tayoho Sammelanam Krishne. Both their beauties, B1 plus B2 came together in Krishna. Sarupam Kena Varnyate. The poet asks, how will I even describe Krishna's beauty? So Krishna was extremely handsome. So all the jewelry, if you go to Mannargudi, he will have all the jewelry of men and women both. So she saw that baby and she immediately messaged. She had one WhatsApp, her own group. Finally, she said, delivered. The women lined up to meet Krishna. A great mystic poet in the Pandya Desha 1500 years back, who was the foster father of Andar, called Vishnu Chitta, popularly known as Periyalvar in his esoteric chaste Tamil verses, says, what was the grandeur and the galore that lined up in Ayarpadi? The word for Gokulam is Ayarpadi. How were they? Extremely euphoric. வண்ணமாடங்கள் சூழ் திருக்கோட்டியூர் கண்ணன் கேசவன் நம்பி பிறந்தினில் எண்ணெய் சுண்ணம் எதிரெதிர் தூவிட கண்ணன் முற்றம் கலந்தலராயிற்றதே. Sprayed colors and liquid on each other, clearly indicating that something like holy existed in Dakshina Bharatam that time. எண்ணெய் சுண்ணம் எதிர் எதிர் தூவிட. So there was absolute happiness. Women lined up. Vasudeva. Nandagopal did not know how to manage the crowd. He immediately made 10 rupees ticket, 20 rupees ticket, VIP, Suprabhata Seva, Domala Seva. All the women, அப்படியே யசோத மாதிரியே இல்லை. That's a cliched statement. When you see a barely newly born child, yaar mari irukku கேப்பா. எல்லா குழந்தையும் ஒரே மாதிரி தான். அப்பா மாதிரியே இல்லை. ஒண்ணு முக்கா. தட்டின முக்கா இல்லை. ஐயோ அதே திருட்டு மொழி பாருங்க. ஓடுவார் விழுவார் உகந்தாலிப்பார் நாடுவார் நம்பிரான் எங்குற்றான் என்பார் பாடுவார்களும் பல்பறை கொட்ட நின்று. See, my suggestion is always there. Practice your mother tongue. In the next 2 years, learn 2 other languages. You have to. Your literature becomes rich. ఎందుకు నేను తెలుగు లెస్స దేశ భాషాలందరకు, then you will stick only to Telugu. You won't know Tamil. If நான் எதற்கு கற்க வேண்டும், அதனால் தான் ஹிந்தி தெரியாது போடா என்று போடுகின்றோம். அசெட் தான மதம் பண்ணி வச்சா, then what will you learn? See, don't bring politics in bhakti. Every language is important. थोड़ा तमिल थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है, क्या करें, सीखना ही पड़ेगा. सोचिए कि वो जीने का एक ही रास्ता है, सीखना ही पड़ेगा. Make it a point, then you will be able to relish. See, translation will not make much sense. Krishna ni begane baro is not the same as, oh, the dark hued one, come over to my house whenever you're free. Is this? Yeah. Oh Yashoda, the son of universe, there is none like you. How long can I keep singing like this? Learn the languages. Now, Krishna, Yashoda after delivery, I'm sure the mothers here will be able to relate. Generally there is something called a post-delivery add-on weight. Women do add-on weight. But here, she lost weight. It was contrary to the general norm. Immediately people interviewed, Anjali Mukherjee went. Why are you thinking, kya hua, Yashoda? So Yashoda said, see, if I keep him in the cradle, he kicks it off. Then I have to take him onto my hip. Then he slides down and goes to the ground. Just by running after him, I've lost weight. கிடக்கில் தொட்டில் கிழிய உதைத்திடும் எடுத்துக் கொள்ளில் உதரத்தே மருங்கை இருத்திடும் உடுக்கி புல்கில் உதரத்தே பாய்ந்திடும் மிடுக்கிலாமையால் நான் மெலிந்தேன் நங்காய். I became thin because of this. In Uttara Bharatam, that was very new to me, not very common in the South Indian culture, where they malish the child with good oil and leave the child in good sun. So Yashoda did that. After having massaged him with that good mustard oil, she wanted to give him a bath. So she put her gagra up, extended her feet, legs, put Krishna in the crevice, made one huge vessel with the right proportion of hot and cold water so that he doesn't feel either too hot or too cold, and mix some gooseberry pulp, the poet says, because if the water flows into his mouth, it has to feel sweet. So she put some gooseberry pulp and she would bathe him. Since he was massaged in oil, it used to slide, so he was found it very slippery. So he held her 2 legs. Immediately the poet writes, what an irony. We have studied the Vedas and the Shastras and we are hunting where your feet are. And you end up touching the feet of a woman who has never been even to an elementary school. Sanakadigar tava yogam செய்து வருந்தி சாதித்ததை புனிதமாவே எளிதில் பெற என்ன தவம் செய்தனை யசோதா எங்கும் நிறை பரபிரம்மம் அம்மா வென்றழைக்க என்ன தவம். ஈரேழு புவனங்கள் படைத்தவனை கையிலேந்தி சிராட்டி பாலூட்டி தாலா என்னதவம் செய்தனை. A beautiful cradle was arranged for Krishna. How was that cradle? Periyalvar says it was made in pure gold. Gold prices have come down in India. Nirmala Mami has reduced her expense. So It was studded with stones. The child was put Manikam Katti, Vairamidai Katti. See, it is a norm across cultures where the mothers, however they are blessed or not blessed, they will sing one song for the child. To put the child to sleep, at times it will wake them up, but they will put the child to sleep. We call it the lullaby, lori, talat, the different names. Yashoda, she decided, I just can't. Just can't. So she outsourced this. See, 1950s and 60s, I'm sure the younger folks may not be able to relate to your great-grandfathers and grandfathers. The marriages used to be very simple, very, very conservative, because small houses, 40-50 people, they will cook food on their own. This concept of taking 500 people to Greece. இங்கே இந்த அதிர்ஷ்டத்தை வந்து காந்தி நகர்லேருந்து இங்கே வர வைக்கிட்டு இங்கேருந்து அங்கே எடுத்துன்னு போய் அதுக்குள்ளே ஜிட்டுன்னு அதுமே So the destination was the house. Where they began was the destination. The house will be the marriage, where the marriage used to happen. Then when the economic status slightly rose in the 1980s and 90s, we started hiring a mandapam, a hall. And then to get all the other related allied work together, there will be one contractor. He will do everything. He'll get the bhakshanam, he will get the kashi yatra, this thing. He will do everything except the mangalya dharanam. So that alone the boy has to do. So here Yashoda wanted to outsource this lullaby singing to, so she found vendors. Vendor one, Madurai South, Srivilliputturu. His name was Periyalvar. So she said, I'll give one part to him. Manikam Katti. He said one sample, voice sample. Manikam Katti, Vairamidai Katti, Ani Ponna Seida Vanna Chiradottil, Peni Unakku Piravan Viduthandan, Manikuralane Talelu. She said, if you give it to the same vendor, there could be questions about integrity. So she gave another part of the lullaby to Narayana Tirtha. Sadhu Janadhara Sarva Bhava Madhava Mamavade Eva. Another part to Uddukadu Venkatakavi Maninu Puradhari Rajagopala Maninu Puradhari Kankana Kinkini Kana Maninu Puradhari. He gave it to the next state, Kerala. Oh Manatingal Kidavu Nalla Komalathamara Poovo Poovil Niranya Madhuvo Paripurnendu Tanne Nilavu Puttampa Vizhakkodiyo Cheru Tattagal Konjum Modiyo Chanjadiyadum Mayilu Mridu Panchamam Padum Kuyilu Yen Unni Krishnan Janichu. അത് ഉണ്ണിയാണ്, ഉണ്ണിയല്ല, ഉണ്ണി. ഇരട്ടിപ്പ് നാവ ചേർക്കണം, നാക്ക് റോൾ ചെയ്തിട്ട് അടപ്രഥമൻ പോലെ ഉണ്ണി. എന്നുണ്ണി കൃഷ്ണൻ ജനിച്ചു. So, see, why am I telling all this? There is not one taluk in India, which has not religion. Krishnat param tattvam aham na jane. Different corners of Krishna, Bharata Desham, Bharatiya subcontinent has celebrated Krishna. Now, that is when Kamsa opened his WhatsApp. He had one V7. All Poothana, Baka, Keshi, Pradamba, all rowdies. They were to stand for the next elections. So, they had about 100 FIRs each. That was a prerequisite to be a part of it. And amongst them was most qualified was Poothana. Kadachidantarhita Pootanatma Kamsa Prayukta Kilakapi Maya Nidra paradhina jane nishithe brajam yashoda kritihi avivesha. What was her specialization? She was specialized in killing newly born children. That was her specialty. Doctorate adla. Postdoctoral, that she'll do now. She came in the disguise of a beautiful Apsara Stree, smearing her bosom with a virulent poison. Thereby her thought was, when the child would suckle, the child shall absorb the poison and die, like the hemlock of the Socrates times. She walked into Gokulam. People were amazed with her gait. See, whenever we go through the man and the woman in our Shastram, we also describe the gait, Gati. When Rama walked, Gajasimha Gati Virau Shardula Vrishabhopamau, says Valmiki. It looked like Gaja Simha Gati Virau. Like how the Gaja would walk next to a Simha. Shardula Vrishabhopamau, like how the tiger would walk next to a Rishabham. That is how Lakshmana walked next to Rama. 4 types of Gati. That is why in Sahasranama we have a Nama, Chatur Gatihi. Whereas women used to take the walk of a swan. Annavadi vaalla sayumanna nadayal uyarumanna varasheri varuvai. Attanaya buddhiyana attiyana uttipuriyal, says Vedanta Deshika. Annavadi vaalla sayum anna nadayal uyarum anna varasheri varuvai. So she came with a beautiful gait with a lotus in her hand, mesmerizing people with her looks and her charm. Krishna cried at his highest volume, indicating that come to my house. So she walked. Koi beta hai ghar mein? That is when Yashoda said, please come in, ma'am, please come. This is our living room, please virajiye, tashrif rakhiye, farmaiye. She said, I'm a wet nurse, I just go feeding children. Do you have a child at home? Yes. Like a mother that feeds, I have fed him, but you are also a great woman that needs to be respected. Please feed my child. I've got some work. She was a working partner with Nandagopala Dairy Products. So she went to the backyard and she said, I've got lots of work to do. I'll just leave you here between you and my child. I don't want to be the impediment. Take care. See ya. The world is small. Let's meet again. And she went. As she went to the backyard, in Tamil, backyard is called Pulakkadai. உங்கள் புழக்கடை தோட்டத்து வாவியுள் செங்கல் நீர் வாய் நெகிழ்ந்து ஆம்பல் வாய் கும்பின கான் கிழிஞ்சிடும் இந்த பாசம். உங்கள் புழக்கடை தோட்டத்து வாவியுள் செங்கல் நீர் வாய் நெகிழ்ந்து. 1 line, 3 ras. Even if you are paid 200 rupees to stand in Valluvar Kottam, you can't say this. So that, see, the beauty is when one great Tamil poet went to Paramacharya, the great sage of Kanchi. The Tamil poet, Paramacharya asked, you know why is the language Tamil called Tamil? Tamil is called Tamil why? Tamil. Why? Because every word that is sweet and indicative of sweetness and ambrosia in Tamil will have ra, alagan, alagi, alagu. Ra. That language which has the unique letter Ra with it. Tammidathil Ravai kondadu Tamil, said Paramacharya. So this lady went, she picked up Krishna and placed him on her lap. She said, Yashoda, ab ja sakti hai. Yashoda, being the innocent, gullible woman, she went behind. Krishna was ready to suckle. Poothana gave a nefarious smile at him. He gave a sheepish smile at her. She was like, you will die soon. He says, let's see who does. He started taking the poison. He drank. Then he sucked her further and got the milk. Says Bhagavatam. He took milk. Amnaya gandha rudhita spuridada roshtam Atsla vilekshana manukshata mandahasam gopala dimba vapusham kuhana jananyaha pranasyanandana mavaini parampumamsam. He took milk. $1 million question. When she is not pregnant and she is not delivered, how can her mammary glands lactate? Correct? See, Krishna can do anything that is magic. He is Paramatma. How could she lactate? There is a condition called galactoria. On certain circumstances, when stimulation happens, small amount of milk can be generated even without undergoing gestation. So she must have had that condition because she must have attained motherhood vatsalyam momentarily looking at the boy's countenance. So he sucked the poison, sucked it further, the milk came, he sucked further. As the milk came, the Jivatma also came along. He didn't kill. ಅದು ಒಂದೂರ್ತು ಆಮ್ನಾಯ ಗಂಧರುದಿತ ಸ್ಫುರಿತ ದರೋಷ್ಟಂ ಆತ್ಸ್ಲಾವಿಲೇಕ್ಷಣ ಮನುಕ್ಷತ ಮಂದಹಾಸಂ ಗೋಪಾಲಡಿಂಬವಪುಷಂ ಕುಹರಾಜರನ್ಯ ಪ್ರಾಣಸ್ಯ ನಂದನಮವೈಮಿ ಪರಂ ಪುಮಾಂಸಂ. But that pain of the Jivatma coming is extremely excruciating, and it didn't happen in stages. It was a sudden exit of the Jivatma. So the sudden exit of the Jivatma gives an excruciating pain akin to the pain experienced by a human being while he or she dreams on the 7th night of the 7th month in the 70th year. 70th year, 7th month, 7th night, there is that Ratri is called Bhaimarathi in Shastram. That will be an excruciating pain. That is why you see many people whom you have known will die in their sleep. Of course, medically we'll say that there is a cardiac arrest or something. Medically we have to give a reason. But Shastram says because they would have had a dream. And that dream will occur around that period. To overcome that Bhaimarathi, we do Bhima Ratha Shanti. Gopascha sambhuya guhopamakshim swaghosha nirhadita vishwaghosham gata sumaikshanta nishacharintam bhimakriti Bhaimarathi nivanyam, says Vedanta Deshika. Now, she died. She attained her original body of a demoness. That broke the walls of the living room. You should have heard some noise. She came, living room was missing. A huge body of a demoness lying in that gully. Nanda Gopa came into the street, he couldn't walk. It was like 495 today. So he couldn't come. He immediately asked, Pichumani, the opposite person, Pichumani, Chandramoli, Mr. Chandramoli. They all looked at each other. How to dispose this body? $1 million question. So they all got whatever devices they found and they started cutting her body. Body which is an admixture of flesh and blood will smell whoever it is. We put yardly. If we don't, it will smell. Karana Kalevara Yogam. Body is flesh, hair, blood. It will smell. Even if I have loved my maternal grandmother, when she's dead, I won't keep her body in the showcase like a party. Nobody will keep the body. That this Rakshasi's body, when being chopped, must have smelled, must have had an obnoxious odor. No. Bhagavatam says, Agaru Chandanasya, it smelled like Chandanam, cycle brand. Mangal. Why? Because Krishna's Udharanam touched her. Pavitranam pavitramyo mangalanam scha mangalam. When he touched Udharam, madhuram, Vadanam, madhuram, gamanam, madhuram, hasitam, madhuram, nayanam, madhuram, hridayam, madhuram, madhuradhipaterakhilam, madhuram. Every line 2 madhurams, 8 madhurams, HbA1c 12.5. Either you'll have a stroke or you'll have to call the priest. But this madhuram will not do anything. This is sugar-free sugar. Sugar-free sugar. So, that is when Poothana Vadham happened. Pootanadhi samharam purushottama avataram shitala hridaya viharam Shri Rukminidaram Chete Shri Balakrishnam Bhajare. This ragam is called Jujaivanti, also known as Dvijavanti by Dikshita. Now, Yashoda was very worried. It is a belief. You may call it a superstition, you may call it blind faith. But in the villages it is believed that for the protection of the child in the absence of the parents, you have to keep a broom. Delhi people tried, but it didn't work. The broom didn't work. So, either you keep the broom or you keep the child next to a broken cart, shakatam, as a sign of protection. So next to the broken cart, shakatam, was a cradle was Krishna, and a few feet away were the children of Gokulam playing lagori. You keep one stone over the other, then you throw the ball, then you hit that person. So they were all playing. Yashoda had left the boy and gone in. There was an achetana pravirbhavam inside that shakatam. It is believed that a demon had pervaded called Utkacha. So sheer force that the bullock cart's rod was coming at a very high speed to hit on the boy. And the boy was extending his foot upwards and crying. In Tamil, whenever the child cries, you say, "Wheel, wheel." Literally he cried, "Wheel, wheel." Because Shakatam is with the wheel, right? He was crying. And as his tender lotus petal-like foot touched the Shakatam went flying in air. Sir, small touch, it went so high. See, in our movies, our hero. Namata mama conveyor length putti edutale spondylitis. Weak body Mama is wearing collar. He just took the luggage from the conveyor. Our Talaivar will hit 50 people. Nothing will happen to Talaivar. Avikara, Yashuddha, anything. When Talaivar does, you don't ask. When Paramatma does, you ask. He hit that Shakatam. Now the point begins here. Simple rule physics. The object goes flying in the air, has to come back. Correct? Then it's it has to come back. The Shakatam did not come. Bhattatri says in Narayaniyam, Shakatam, the broken cart, none of its parts came. Why? He says, Shuddha Sattvam Babhuva, they all went to Vaikuntham. Sir, only Jivatma will go to Vaikuntham. How will an Achetana Vastu go to Vaikuntham? That is Krishna Avataram. See, when you enter Vaikuntham, on the left hand side there will be a showcase. This Shakatam will be there. That time you think of it. You why don't you go the Shona Anikation and a basis will tell you Shagana will come. Now then you are not worried. On the right hand side showcase, you will see one pot. Can anyone tell? Very good. Dadibhanda. See, in Ashtaprabandham, there is one anecdote mentioned. Krishna was of a runnable age. He would do all tantrums, throw all tantrums, and the mother would keep chasing. One day she said, Vadham, I'm going to chase you. She came chasing him. And it was a norm to buy curds in those days. So there was a person who was selling curds alone. Dadhi Bhanda pot. And he had emptied the pot, selling all his curds. It was all done. Krishna said, Dadhi Bhanda, I have to hide somewhere. Where will you hide, Krishna? In your pot. So he inserted 2 holes for the oxygen to go in and come. He put Krishna, reversed the pot and sat like this. Yashoda came, where is Krishna? Tongue, I don't know. Krishna was looking through the holes. After the mother was gone, Krishna said, thank you so much, Dadhi Bhanda. Can you release me? He said, no. Why? Give me moksham. I do not want to be again. Dadhi Bhanda, how did you know that I gave moksha? I went to SSVT Sapthaham. I heard that you give moksha. Huh? You give moksha. Is it? Okay. I will give you moksha. Now release me. No! I am inseparable from my pot. Even if I go to Vaikuntham, the pot has to come. Dadhi Bhanda. I cannot give moksham to Achetana Vastu. You have to give. Okay, as an exception to the general norm, I give moksham to this Bhandam. That is why when you enter Vaikuntham, left hand side Shakatam will be in the showcase. Right hand side Dadhi Bhandam Anniki Vipra Matra Vido Yukta Stairyaha. So as this happened, Krishna had to start walking. For a mother, I'm sure the mothers here will be able to relate better. You wait for that moment when your child walks, you hold the hands together. So Yashoda held Krishna's hands and she said, take that foot forward, take this, slow, take this foot forward. Vedanta Deshika wonders, at 8:15 yesterday, he measured the words. And this lady is teaching that boy how to walk. Padaistrivik kranti jagatrayantam sambhavaya balita balabhavam karena sangrihya karambujagriyam sancharayamasa shanair Yashoda. So Yashoda taught him how to walk. But then he couldn't walk much, bulky body. See, Rama is very, very food conscious, he'll say. 20 grams of ghee, so much of brown rice, and tofu, almond milk, oatmeal, இதெல்லாம் சாப்பிட்டு மெல்லிசா young gym body. கிருஷ்ணா அப்படி நம்மள மாதிரி எது கொடுத்தாலும் உங்களுக்காக பண்ணி வந்திருக்கேன் நான் சாப்பிட்டேன். So Krishna was bulky. He couldn't even stand. He would only crawl. So he was given the ball of butter. Hayyanga Veenam. Navanitam is slightly old. Hayyanga Veenam is fresh butter. So he would be given Hayyanga Veenam. And because he was crawling, that hand wouldn't reach his mouth. And as he would keep looking at the freshly made butter, Hayyanga Veenam lying at proximity yet not able to taste, he would drool. Repenting for not having touched upon it, he would start shedding tears. Tears this side, drooling this side, this would melt. And there was a girdle in his hip with the little bells that would jingle rhythmically with every movement of his. So Annamaya says, when I go to Tirumala, I don't see Venkateshwara Swami, I see Krishna with the jingling of the bells in a rhythmic motion as he drools and as he sheds tears upon looking at that Navanitam. Kadi dhatita mekhala khachita mani khandita padala ninadena vibhrajyamanam kudila pada ghadita samkula shinjite natam chatula natana samujvala vilasam bhavayami gopala padam manasevitam tatpadam chintayam sada bhavayami gopala padam manasevitam tatpadam chintayam. See, he had curly hair. Krishna Lila Shuka says, Chikuram Bahulam Viralam Brahmaram Rudulam Vachanam Vipulam Nayanam. Curly hair. Black, effervescent, very nice hair, but curly hair. Children, mothers will have a tough time. She wanted to comb, Naibalu don't go. She wanted a clip. Pondi Bazaar was closed. So that time she spotted a peacock walk and naturally shed its feather. As a stopgap solution, she took something has to be fixed as a clip. She fixed that element of a stopgap solution became his identity. It looked so beautiful on him. Madashikhi pincha alankrita chikure. That became his identity. So there is one incident mentioned in Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam's incident was internalized, contemplated upon and represented in his own inimitable style by Bhattatri in the 16th century Narayaniam. What is that incident? It is about Krishna being fed with milk. Yashoda, she had also let the milk boil. She could smell the milk boiling because milk will never boil when you look at it. You keep looking at it, it will never boil. You turn this end, it has got a jnana drishti. So she said, I'll just leave Krishna. Krishna just managed for some time, and she went running into her kitchen to take care of that boiling of the milk, because there was a way how you reduce the boiling. You have to pull that log of food out. That's all. Like the knob, you have to pull it out. So by the time she could do it, Krishna was extremely mad at her. For Krishna it is Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. You surrender only to me. When you are concentrating on me, do not have a backup. Milk is not your priority. He is very clear. I am your son. Am I important or that A2 grass-fed organic milk? You will get it anytime in Costco for a very good offer. Why do you have to worry? He got angry. He wanted to teach his mother a lesson. Look at this. He went and stood on a mortar and took a piece of stone and broke a pot. That pot had carried all the butter that she would religiously, sincerely work through the day before the Suryodayam, after the Surya Astamanam, to get that butter accumulated from curds. It was the result of a week's hard work that was put into a pot that was hung from the ceiling. I'm sure in the 1960s, people who used to, the only source of infotainment or entertainment were lectures. So people would go at about 5:45 to one of the places where the Upanyasams, Pravachanams used to happen with a Horlicks bottle full of buttermilk. 2 hours they will keep on doing this when they listen to the lecture. When they do it towards the end, you will have that butter. So this butter was accumulated and put into a pot. There was some buttermilk as well. When Krishna broke that pot with a piece of stone, all the butter and buttermilk fell on him. The commentator wrote, Ksheerarnavattil kidandavan morarnavattil irukindran. The one who's used to staying in the milk of ocean is now in the ocean of buttermilk. He was drenched in butter. Yashoda heard this noise and she came to the living room. She saw Krishna. What have you done? This is that scene. With what did he break the pot? Stone. He broke with the stone. After reading this in Bhagavatam, when Bhattatri transposed and transliterated this, transcreated this in his work, he said, Krishna broke the pot with a stick. He has to break with something, he broke with stick. Then when he went into the original, he spotted that it was a stone. What could he have done? He could have gone backspace, delete. Like how the banknotes used to be counted. So he could have done that, but you cannot do that because see, remember, knowledge transfer was so tough. You wouldn't know the magnitude and the intensity with which knowledge was transferred. Today it is so easy. That is why we don't learn. We say it is there, we put it in the Megham. You don't have to remember anything. 20 years back, this autosave mode was not there. After typing one document, you don't autosave. So, now you don't have to remember anything. Everything is there in the cloud. Everything. Knowledge transfer was not that easy, you know. Let's say a Puranam like, say, Vishnu Puranam. It has 6,000 shlokas, 6 amshas, Prathamamsham, Shishtamsham. There will be only 3 manuscripts. How were manuscripts? So you have to take wood, the bark, thin bark, apply tamarind paste, dry it, and then make sheets out of it. Thin sheets. It will be rolls. Then you have to use a sharp pen, instrument, not dipped in ink. You have to inscribe on it. Inscribe, not ink. And you cannot keep going. It used to be minute. If you look at go to a library, Oriental library, see a manuscript, you have to use a magnifying lens. It will be one small script. And you never take, for instance, a Vishnu Sahasranama Pustakam now. Bhupadav Yasya Nabhir Veerasuralis Chandra Suryaucha Netre, full stop. Karnavasha Shirodyauhu Mukhamapidahano Yasya Vasteyam Abdihi, full stop. Antastham Yasya Vishwam Sura Nara Khagago Bhogi Gandharva Deitehi, full stop. Chitram Ram Ravyatetam Tribhuvana Vapusham Vishnu Nisham Namami, full stop. This is how you split. There will never be punctuation marks in manuscripts. How will you know where to stop? So Vyasacharya created a method. the last line of that shloka will be repeated twice. Nasa punaravartate, nasa punaravartate, which means you have to keep the full stop there. It was not easy. First you have to write it in one line. You have to keep on writing. You cannot put that, save so much right indent, left indent. The full manuscript will be full of script. One. Second thing, you cannot keep going like this. So after a few inches, you have to break that manuscript. Then you have to write it in the next piece. That is why, how do you continue the flow? They will bore one hole and then they will tie a tag to it. Now this being wood would be prone to termite attack. So termite will eat some parts. So the next Acharya has to think what that line could be to complete that line. Now there will be only 3 manuscripts for Vishnu's Puranam, 6,000 shlokas across Bharatadesham. One will be in somewhere in Kashmir or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. One will be in say East India. One will be in Dakshina Bharata. So an Acharya in the 13th century, like say Vedanta Deshika, who lived in Kanchipuram, would want to read Vishnu Puranam. Today we go immediately, we type. See, I've got Vishnu Puranam, we do fact check and all. You cannot do that. How will he do? So what he would do is, he would know from sources. They will keep on talking to other scholars. That scholar, somebody would have said, there is one copy from Kashmira Bhandaram. There was in the current day POK region, we have one Sharada Peetham. It was a big library mentioned during the times. Even Muthuswami Dikshithar, 250 years, he says Sharad Jyotsna Shuddham Shashivadanam Kashmira Nagara Viharam. It was a huge library. So there will be one manuscript. So what Vedanta Deshika would say is, if he sees one scholar going from Kerala to Kashmir, he'll say, when you go to Kashmir, bring that manuscript. So that manuscript will be given to Vedanta Deshika 6 months later, because you have to walk and go. Kings used to go in chariots. What will Brahmanas do? They have to walk and go. 6 months it will take. Then that manuscript will come to Deshika. In 3 days he has to give it to another scholar, like circulating library. In those 3 days he will memorize all the 6,000. 3 days you have to memorize and give it. So knowledge preservation and transfer was a Herculean task. That is why their brains have to be researched. What great knowledge they had. In contrast to what we have today, you don't have to buy a book. You don't have to hold that book. Some people say, no, please don't give me the book. It's there in the cloud. Which means I will never read. So, why did I tell you this? Because he had written that the pot was broken with a stick. He couldn't have deleted it. So he started crying, I have gone against the original. Because the original says, Ashmanaraho. The original says, Sanjata Kopa Spuritarunadharam Sadrishya Bhitva Mrishadrishya Ashmanaraho Jagasa Hayyangavamantaram Gataha. Ashmanaraho, with a stone he broke. But what did Bhattatri write? Sami Pitara Sabhanga Sangha Bharaparibhuta Chetasa Mantadandam Upagrihya Patitam Hantadevadati Bhajanam Tvaya Mantadandam. With a stick he broke. So he started crying, Krishna, I've done a grave mistake, I've written is just stick. That moment he heard the sound of a pot break. He saw the Garbhagraham of Guruvayur had vanished. A mortar was there, standing on which was Krishna. Over him was a pot. Krishna broke that pot with a stick and a stone. Telling Bhattatri, that day too I used the stick. But Shuka saw only the front view. See, in engineering graphics, AutoCAD, there is a front view. Front view he saw, so he could see only the stone. You have done the right job of having the top view. In top view, you were able to see the stick. So what you have written is not wrong. Manthadandam upagrihya patitam hantadeva dadibhajanam tvaya. So Yashoda said, I need to teach you a lesson. She brought a strand of useless rope strung together. It is called Kanninum Siruthambu in Tamil. She held that and she said, I need to tie you somewhere. Then only you spare the rope. Come here. Krishna started running. Hartum kumbhe vinhitakaraha swaruhayyangavinam drishtva chatula mataram jatarosha payadishat prachalita padonava gachanna tishthanna. He didn't move for a moment. When he saw his mother was panting for breath, he didn't want to be the cause of her death. He stood. One foot extended in thin air, the other foot on the... He looked back. Nilayan Vishwagupta, he turned back and looked at Yashoda with that look. Do you think I would have broken the pot? No, what it's pain, Amma. So, she said, I'm not going to be duped by you, Krishna. I have to tie you. So she took Krishna to her front yard. Front yard would have all whatever they were using and not using, like your garage. In most houses in the US, they're very affectionate to me. I'll go only through the garage. There'll be one ultra grinder, one refrigerator. So, I would go inside the house. So their house had one mortar. A mortar is where you pound the floor. So it will be circular from the top view, 2 concentric circles with a cavity in the middle. It is like a triangle that's tapering to the center, and then the mirror reflection of it will be another triangle facing downwards. It will be like a Pascal's triangle, one with the vertices facing each other. Concentric. Sir, we know mortar. No, many of them don't. When I was telling it Houston, Meenakshi temple last year, I said mortar, all of them. I said mortar, it is used to grind. Mortar, grind. Krishna was tied to ultra grinder. How long can I keep explaining mortar? So, Krishna had to be tied. When Krishna was pulled and the mother said, I need to tie you with the damam. Damam in Sanskritam is a rope. Udaram is your abdominal region. So the damam was used around the abdominal udaram. Dama, udaram, damodara. So he had to be tied. So Krishna said, you cannot give it to me, I will tie it to my own. Kanninun shirutambinal kattunna panniya perumayan. He was tied to the mortar. Both of them were dark. Both of them were thin in the hip. Yashoda wondered which is the mortar and which is Krishna. The commentator asked, Yedu Ural, Yedu Kannan Yendru Vinavinal. She wondered which is the mortar, which is Krishna. Both carry similar features, which is the one. Then she found out one cried, the other did. So she tied Krishna. Yadi Shaknoshi Gachatvam Ati Chanchala Chetita. You move from this place, I will teach you a lesson. Rishis wonder to Parabrahmam of Swarupa Nirupaka Dharmam called Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. This lady is commanding him, you Yadi Shaknoshi, the Yadatta Vitanagarada Badava. She tied him. Krishna couldn't stay quiet. He started eating the butter that was in the cavity. And he started crawling. He spotted 2 large trees in his front yard. That was the identity of their house. He somehow managed to get into that gap between the 2 trees. Like the auto rickshaws of Chennai. 2 large buses. Auto will go, Yampa. Setruvan Saruna. Konda Setruvan Sar Yenga. So, there. I keep telling, whenever I go in the auto, I tell Krishna Rudi Vamshavali Vaibhava. 3 wheels. Achit, Chit, Ishvara Tattva. Rahasya Traya. So Krishna went. He tried pulling the mortar. 2 pulls. Trees fell. When Poothana came, living room went missing. Pot broke. Full collateral damage. So here 2 trees fell. Nandagopa even forgot that this was his house because his house's identity was Pankajam! I am not Yashoda. What happened to the 2 trees? It fell. See, in villages, they generally give identity based on trees. They would never say new number 1. Weasley and then new and all they will not say. See, when I was in Trishur, anybody from Trishur here? Any Astikas from Trishur? Okay, in Trishur there is, there is. So in Trishur there is a beautiful hamlet called Pungunam. Beautiful temple. I give a lot of lectures there. I stay in the house of very, very, very close Astikas to me. So in 2015, while I was still serving my corporate firm, I was also giving lectures. So my company had to send me a hard disk. They said, give me your address. I asked that, Mama, give me your address. Oh, no, like, house with a big mango tree. The address was house with a big mango tree. This is not the right address. You have to give me some address. Yeah, deliver pannidva. But you have to give me an address. Then I requested Mama, and then Mama gave me that address. So the address for Nandagopal's house was 2 trees. That also went missing. From those 2 trees came Jivatmas called Manigriva, Nalakubera, who were cursed. So every act of Krishna Avataram at one level impresses us as listeners. There is an underlying layer of Vedanta in it. Shapa Vimochanam. When he used to consume the butter and break the pot, it was indicative of the pot being the material body, the butter being the Jivatma, where Bhagavan Bhokta Bhogyam Preritaram Chamatva says Upanishad. Paramatma uses Jivatma as a Bhogya Vastu and discards the material body. Taraka bindige naniri hoguve tare bindige bindige hodadare onde kasu tare bindige Bindu Madhavana Ghattakke hoguve tare bindigeya. So every level in Bhagavatam, Krishna Avataram has an underlying philosophical layer. See, that is a different discussion. One time I gave Bhagavatam in Chennai for a group of Vedantic students completely on the Vedanta of Bhagavatam. The story will take the back seat. Vedanta. See, when Paramacharya, great sage of Kanchi, he was encountered with a devotee who said, I'm suffering from cancer. That is when Paramacharya said, it is said, we keep getting that message. He asked them to recite the 13th shloka of the 8th dashakam. Asmin paratman nanupadmakalpe tvamittha muttha padmayonihi ananta bhuma mamaroga rashim nirundhivadalaya vasa vishnu. This is the shloka. He said specifically 13th shloka, 8th dashakam. Why? He told the person got cured is a different thing. Now, I wondered why this shloka. See, Brahma is born in a lotus. Asmin paratman nanu padma kalpe tvam itham uthapita padmayonim. Uthapita padmayonim. Brahma sat on the lotus when the lotus was born. What is lotus? Kamalam, Kamaulagiti Kamala, Pankajam, that flower which is born in the marshes. See, if you look at lotus ponds, it will be very dirty, but the lotus will look so fragrant and nice. So it is called Nalinam, Pankajam, born in the marshes. Marshes means blemishes, dosham. From the pond that is infested with blemishes, dosham, there is something which is a ray of hope called the lotus. So Brahma is born in it. In our body, I'm sure there will be great scholars here who will know it better. We have the cell division process called mitosis and meiosis. Every cell, which is a structural functional unit, will have a jnanam in it called the nucleus. When the cell is born, millions of cells are born and they are dead when we sit and rise. When a cell is born, need not be a healthy cell. It can have blemishes. When it has dosham, the cell buddhi will say, die. That's called apoptosis, programmed cell death. So it has to tell, cell die. If the cells with blemishes don't die, such cells come together to become a tumor. So, like how the blemishful pond sees a lotus, Brahma's Utpannam sees the going down of that malignant or that particular tumor down. So, birth of Brahma on a lotus in a blemish-full pond signifies the ray of hope to a patient who is suffering from cancer. So, Paramacharya must have linked Asmin Paratman Nanu Padma Kalpe Tvam Itham Uthapita Padmayonim Ananta Bhuma Mamaroga Rashim Nirundi Vadalaya Vasa Vishnu. So, at one level, we see the poetic description, the onomatopoeia, the alliteration, the simile, the metaphor that's deployed. At another level, there is a philosophy that is embedded, very well embroidered with the passage. So, Bhagavan gave moksham, shapa vimochanam to Manigriva and Kubera. One day Krishna went and told his mother, Mummy, I want to earn. Who will give you job? Let's make Gokula great again. So, I'll get a job. Who will give you a job, David? No, Mummy, I'll take my friends and go. I will let the cows and the calves graze. That is our profession. See, in the local Dakshina Bharatiya tradition, there is a general saying, if the child doesn't study, the mother would, in those days, everyone, Maadu make For him, that was a profession. So, he said, I will go by the banks of river Yamuna. Kanna, by the banks of river Yamuna, there are many thieves. I have read so many reports about it. There are many thieves who occupy the sands and the banks of Yamuna. Mama, didn't you know the ultimate truth? What is it, Kanna? I am the leader of all of them. Narman Dada. Yamuna Nadi Karayil, Yapurudum Kalvar Bayam. Yamuna Nadi Karayil, Yapurudum Kalvar Bayam. Kalvar Vandu Munai Aditha Kalangiduvai Kanmaniye Maadu Mekum Kanne Ni Poga Vendam Sunne Kachina Pal Tare Kalkande Chini Tare. See, this conversation. See, generally compositions are one way, right? Shri Vaibhava Kuta Jata Chaturveda Swarupinim Shringara Kamara Jodhava Sakala Vishwa Vyapinim Devim Shakti Bijodhava Matrikana Sharirini Devanuta Bhavaroga Vaidapati Hridaya Viharini Bhavaragatara Modini Bhakta Vishta Pradayini Sevaka Janabalana Guru Varupa Muddu Kumara Janani Bhajare Re Chitta Balambika. Balambika in Tamil is called Tayyal Nayaki in Vaidishwaran Kovil. So it's a one-way process. Compositions will always be one way. Dialogue is very different. Andal attempted. Yelle ilangiliye innum murangadiyo. Shil endru alayelme. It's a conversation. Here, Maadu meekum kanne ni poga vendam sonne. Yashoda. Ippoludhu pogiduven Krishna. So it's a conversation. Krishna said, I will go. She said, okay. He immediately messaged his friends. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., meeting point. A lot more can happen over a cup of coffee. They all took different kinds of food. Yogambal Mamis. Venkatesh Bhatt, Hebbar's Kitchen, Hema Subramaniam. Puliyodare travel, Shanta party. Ita barungo, ata puddingo, ita virungo. Mudilena saatu. So everybody was cooking. Yashoda didn't bother. She is like my house. Curd rice. Permanent. In that middle there was this Vamana Amram. Vamana Amram. Have you heard of Vamana Amram? What is Vamana short? Amram is mango. Vanam Amram. Rasamandala Madhye. So this was given. The boys went. At about 11 in the morning, when they had let the cows and the calves graze and it was lunch time, Krishna said, let's all come together, let's open our boxes. They all sat in a circle. The boys, the Gopakumaras with Krishna. Then the Gopakumara said, Krishna, you shouldn't be seated in the periphery with us. Sit in the center. He went and sat in the center. Krishna opened his box. 1, 2, and 3 he opened. He took the curd rice in his ball in his left hand and pickle in the right. The shlokam is Bibhrat Vedum Jatara Pataya Shringa Vetye Chakakshe Vame Panam. You remember 720 I spoke about the word Vamam. Vamam, left hand. Vame Panam. Masrila Kabalam. Masrila Kabalam means balls of curd rice. Tat Phalam Angulishu. Vegetables and fruit soaked in the right, which is pickle. Right hand side pickle, left hand side curd rice. there is a place called Vasant Vihar in Delhi. I gave one Sapthaham there. They said you give it in English. So I gave. That time, I think day 5 it came. I said Krishna had curd rice. Many of them got up in. What in tappa hai? आइए इधर क्यों गए? आप मद्रासी हैं. क्यों कन्हैया क्यों दही चावल खाएंगे? I said, see, I am not giving that menu to them. Bhagavatam says, Masrila Kabalam, he had curd rice. What can I do? क्यों वो रोटी नहीं खा सकते हैं? भाई वो खा सकते हैं, लेकिन in Bhagavatam it is Masrila Kabalam. They were very upset. हम सोच रहे थे कि आप शायद ये उत्तर दक्षिण से पार रहेंगे और ये राजनीति में नहीं आएगा. यो अम्मा, I just said he had curd rice. इधर कहाँ बनती है राजनीति? So then I had to convince. I told no, he is from Uttar Bharat only. How do you say that? See, he used both his hands. When I went to Pilani, I went into the canteen. I found they were all Narasimha Bhaktas. That chapati. Sata patala bhishani saradhasa attahaso dhate spuratni parisputan. In my house, if I use the next hand, I'll get one back. I have to keep like this and eat. So I said, see, Krishna had curd rice, so he satisfies the soul. He had it in both the hands, he satisfied the Lord. They were happy, they attended the next Vipratvenum jatara pataya shunga vetye chakakshe vame panavu masrila kabalam tatphalam angulishu. So Krishna had curd rice ball here, pickle here. The other boys who were surrounding him in the circular periphery, they too opened. They held their balls of food in their hand, they didn't eat. They extended and said, Krishna, you eat. The commentator asks, these boys have never studied Shastras. They don't know an inch, but they know that the first ball of food has to be offered to Paramatma. Those Gopakumaras, what have they studied? They didn't eat. They said, Krishna, you have this first, Krishna. We don't want it. You have it first. That bhakti of Gopakumaras and Gopastris, when you read Bhagavatam, you'll realize, where are we and where are they? See, at one point in time in Bhagavatam, we'll see Krishna will leave Vrindavanam and go to Mathura. After leaving Mathura, he goes to Dwaraka. Prabhutaratnadyudikesaram tat pravalapatraugha paritaparshvam sthane harerishta tamam tadasit sambhuti rajivam iva indirayaha. He will go and settle in Gujarat. There he befriends a very great person, Gishpati Putra, called Udhava. Udhava was very learned. He had learned under Brihaspati, Gishpati Putra, very learned. After having become great friends with Krishna, after having moved with Krishna for years together, he becomes like Krishna. His features, his talking style, the way he walks, the way he thinks, kind of apes Krishna in every moment. At one point in time, when people started confusing Uddhava with Krishna, Uddhava developed an innate arrogance that I am Krishna. I am close to Krishna. Krishna wanted to bring this arrogance down. So he said, Uddhava, I promised the Gopika-stris that I shall visit them in Vrindavanam. Why don't you go on my behalf? Uddhava said, well, if I am going to represent you, it is a badge of honor for me. And he went. As his Ratham arrived in Vrindavanam, looking at the emblem in the flag that was fluttering high in the sky, the Gopastris ran towards the Ratham. They thought this was Krishna. They offered Shondesh, Gude Roshugulu, Borkhobe, Putarekulu, Bandarladu, Kakinada Kaja, Adirasam, Adapradaman, Ambalapura Paisam, Puran Poli, Kadi, everything they offered. Uddhava had to tell, this is not Krishna, that's me, Uddhava. The moment they were hovering around him with so much of love, Uddhava started shedding tears. He thought, I was thinking all this while that bhakti emanates from me towards Krishna. What bhakti these women have? Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nikshita nashrutava kim shastraughaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane. This kind of bhakti, Uddhava says, nekshita nashrutava. I have neither seen nor have I heard. Kim shastraughaihi. What is the use of reading the 4 Vedas, the 6 Sangas, the Upangas, the Itihasa, Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa? When I cannot match the iota of bhakti that these people have. Kim shastraughaihi kiniha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. He fell at the feet of Gopikas Stris and said, what am I in front of you, Mata? That bhakti that you have for Krishna is unparalleled. Evam bhakti sakala bhuvane nekshita nashrutava kim shastraughaihi kimiha tapasa gopikabhyo namostu. I can only put my palms together in front of you, Gopika Stris. Gopika Stris had such uninterrupted, unadulterated love for Krishna, like the Gopakumaras. The Gopakumaras said, Krishna, you have first. That time Krishna shed tears, says the commentator. He says, Krishna wondered why this avataram's purpose, when will it fructify? He said, this is the purpose for the bhakti. On the other side of Yamuna was a habitat where there was a widow woman with a child. She would feed her child around the same time, and the child would ask one question permanently every day, where is Vaikuntham, where is Swargam? And the mother would point her fingers upwards. The child asked the same question this day as well. The mother didn't point her finger upwards. She said, wherever Krishna is, Tishthan madhye swapati suhrudo hasayan narmabhisvaihi swarge loke mishati bhuje yajnabuk balakelihi. Wherever Krishna is, that is Vaikuntham. Katrinile varungitam, katrinile varungitam, kangal paritida pungungitam, kallum kaniyum geetam, katrinile varungitam. Nila malarnda iravinil tendral Ulavidum nadiyil Nila nirattu balagan oruvan kuzhal boodi nindran Kalamellam avan urugumo Every part of Bhagavatam in Dashama Skandam is worth 1,000,000 because bhakti is just there in its raw form. No avataram. See, Varaha avataram is great, Matsya avataram, but you cannot go pinch Varaha. Narasimhanu bayam vararu. Narasimhanu killi vilanu pinchu. Killi adutha Vadham nambadha. Rama is very, very orthodox. See, Rama is extremely good, but he's very rule conscious. Kaiyum kamjittu indicator good. No rule follow. Krishna is not like that. He will go in the red but will not get a ticket. That is Krishna. He's like us. Very realistic but very successful. So Krishna avataram is one avataram where Anubhavam will be at its peak. That Anubhavam we had on day 5. Day 6 tomorrow, as told by the organizers, it is between 3 and 5. 3 and 5. So between 3 and 5 is day 6 lecture tomorrow. Day 7, day 7 will be, tomorrow we'll have Govardhana, Udharanam, Kaliyanardanam, Venuganam, Ashtapadi, Rasakrida, Kamsa, Vadham, all of this tomorrow. Day 7, which is Sunday, it is between 10:30 and 12:30. We will have lots of things. Muchukunda Stuti, we will have Sandipani Upakhyanam, then Rukmini Parinayam, Satyabhama Parinayam, Jambavati Parinayam, Usha Parinayam, Santana Gopala Charitram, Kuchelo Upakhyanam, all this on day 7. Day 7 is in the morning, and followed by that will be a Mahaprasadam. Correct? Mahaprasadam on day 7.
Day 7.
Okay, so this will be on day 7 after the Rukmini Kalyanam. So please be a part of 2 more days. I'm sure it does take a lot of efforts for people who are living in the Virginia side to come this far. But being Bhagavata Sapthaham, I would love to see all your faces for 2 more days, Saturday and no, permanently I'd like to see your faces. Now, for tomorrow and the day after, we'll have day 6 and day 7 lectures of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you for your participation. And as told on day 1, we have Ananthapadmanabha Swami Mahotsavam being conducted by the temple in August. Please be an integral part of it. And we have Jnanananda Seva Samajam, which is organizing a beautiful Nama Sankirtanam, great festival. Please be a part of it. And Aim for Seva is bringing our production. I was a part of the production where I do the narration and curated the production on Bhagavatam Narayaniyam by the very famous choreographer Anita Guha. Rajkumar Bharati, the great grandson of Bharatiyar, is a music composer, and Sai Shravanam of the Life of the Pi movies, the soundscape designer. So it's a grand Bharatanatyam dance production. 20 plus people are coming to do that, and that is happening in the month of September, organized by Aim for Seva. Please be a part. You know, Aim for Seva events are open to all, free for all, but they do expect donations for the yeoman service that they do. Please get in touch with the Aim for Seva volunteers in the month of September for the production. And Adiyan's book in English, part 1 of Ramayanam, readable across ages, across communities, across all of you can buy the book. It is in English. You can, the part 1 of the book, entire Balakandam, entire Ayodhya Kandam, parts of Udharanam, 93,000 words, 108 chapters, 120 illustrations. So you can buy the book. The copy is available with Giri Trading, www.giriusa.com, GIRIUSA.com. You can buy your copy or copies. If you have relatives and friends in India, they can order through Amazon India, and then they can ship it to you through Vaibhava. Garuda Vega. So, with this, I would like to conclude. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashalini Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhyav Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. My lecture gets over on the Sunday here. Monday, I've got a 1-day lecture in English on the topic Draupadi at the temple in Indianapolis. If you have your friends and relatives there, please do ask them to attend. It's a free event. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending. What a wonderful discourse tonight. Thank you very much, Dushyanth Sridhar. Thank you. And please don't forget to attend Saturday and Sunday discourses as well. Saturday will be 3 to 5 and Sunday will be 10:30. Please be here at 10 o'clock so we can honor Dushyanth ji.